Thank you, Pooja, for the introduction. And thank you for Techjoomla for organizing Joomla NXT, which is a great event. I'm going to switch right away and jump into the topic. I will first have a few slides to explain what I'm going to talk about, and then I'll switch to a quick demonstration of for SEO, our latest extension. So let me start by sharing my screen and switching to my slides. And I need to move things a little bit. There you go. Hope everything is fine. Okay, let's get started. Yeah, thank you. So the topic today is modern SEO for Joomla websites and how you can implement that using our extension for SEO. So the first things I would like to talk about, I'm just going to say a few words about me and the company. We've been involved with Joomla since 2005, so it's been quite a ride. And currently we have a range of extensions for Joomla, some paid, some free, of charge, and they are mostly dedicated, as Pooja said, to SEO and content and Joomla content. Our current range is composed of 4SEO and 4Ceph. 4SEO is an all-in-one extension, SEO extension for Joomla, 3 and 4. 4Ceph is an extension only dedicated to Ceph URLs, and it's a little bit of the successor of SH for 4Ceph, which is the extension we've been developing for many years. On top of that, we now have 4Video and 4Logs, which are two free extensions dedicated to the most important one being 4Video, embedding videos into Joomla websites in a very efficient way, very performant way. We also have a Chrome and Firefox SEO extension that installs in browser called SEO Info, and which provides a lot of information about pages, SEO related information about pages, and verify that many things are correct inside pages and will alert you if something is not working. So let's jump right in, and the first thing maybe I want to talk about is what is modern SEO, because SEO is something that's really, really large. It covers many, many things, and it's really easy to get lost very often into what's important and what's not important. So in my view today, I've listed here a few things that are the most important things on which you may want to concentrate if you are interested in doing SEO for your site. The first thing is content. Obviously, the content of your site is always going to be the most important thing. It's getting more important and more important these days. Structured data, internal linking, sitemaps, metadata, and then a few other things. But I'm going to say a few words about each of these topics, but the most important thing to remember here is that there are very many things you need to work, or you may want to work with in terms of SEO. So content. Well, content is usually considered the most important thing in SEO, but that doesn't mean much, and it's really difficult to go beyond that. The content is the most important thing on my site. Okay, but what do I do with that? What do I do next? So for SEO and in general, the things you want to focus on in terms of content and writing is, well, first, I didn't say it here, but you really need to write naturally. You really need to write for your visitors, your users, not for Google, not for Bing, not for Google, not for SEO, because that gives a very natural writing. And it's worth mentioning that just a couple of weeks ago, there was a Google update. They updated their algorithm in what's called the Google Helpful Content Update, and their goal is to favor content that's written naturally, or to put it the other way around, they want to disvalue or lower the value and show less content that's written by robots, by artificial intelligence, and content that's written specifically for SEO. So you have to keep that in mind. This is becoming more and more important. How do you improve your writing and your content? Well, I believe today in 2022, the most important thing is to write based on a combination of intent and keywords. You need to identify the keywords you may want, or you want, and you can rank for, you can have good results with. And you need to include these keywords into a page that's intended for a specific usage, for a specific search. Because SEO is about replying to a user request, to a user search. So what are the users searching for? And what are the keywords that I can use to reply to that? Just recently, like a few days ago, we have added an integration to for SEO with the Google Search Console, because the Google Search Console is the only place, the only source of truth for search results data. Only Google knows about which keywords people are searching for and which pages are displayed in search results for these keywords. So that's where we want to go and look for information. And I'll get back to that in the demonstration. So the second topic that's really important these days is structured data. And structured data is the idea that Google is indeed very smart, but they are not that smart. And so they are not able to understand everything, every piece of content that you put on your website. So we have to help them. And the way we can help them, and the way they want us to help them, is by adding invisible metadata inside the pages to explain what a page is about. This is especially important for things like products on an e-commerce or events. And you can use structured data to tell them, okay, this particular events I'm organizing, Joomla NXT on SEO, it's happening on this particular date at this particular time, and it's about this. So this is not visible content. It's something that you add inside, just like meta description or things like that. It's not. It's only meant for robots to be used. Writing this structured data by hand is really hard, and you do need extensions to do that. And for SEO is very strong, has a very strong structured data feature. And we'll see to that later. The third thing I think is the most important today, and the thing you want to spend quite a bit of time on, is internal linking. Internal linking is how you're going to create links between the various pages on your site, so that these various pages that you can create are going to reinforce each other, the authority of each other. There's a pretty famous SEO consultant called Barry Adams who says that internal linking is the SEO superpower. And the great thing about it is that it's all under your control. You don't depend on other people to link back to you. This is all about within your site. Internal linking is about creating, like I said, links between pages of your site, and it also helps search engines to understand which content is important and which content is not, which content is more relevant to a particular query, and which query, which search. I've just drawn here, a small example. Assume you have a page on the Joomla CMS. Then one way to improve the authority of your page is to write over time a number of pages on topics related to Joomla, and then link back to that single page Joomla CMS. This is a very simplified way of looking at it, but doing something like that will always reinforce the authority of that page. So it's not doing everything, but it's a big help in reinforcing the authority of that page. This sort of thing must be done over time. It's not something that you're going to do when you launch the site and then think you're done with it. It's something things you do over months, over years. There has to be a large number of items linking to the main page that you want to rank for. You need to link to the topic name. Like in our example, this was Joomla CMS. Now we need always, in all these sub-pages, we need to link to the topic name only once. And like I said, this has to be very consistent. Each of these sub-pages should be linking properly to the main topic page. That's the exact reason why we added a content replacer to for SEO, so that you can create rule and link automatically from sub-pages to the main pages and build that internal linking semi-automatically at least. So now we are entering topics which are probably less important today. The first of them is a sitemap. The few things I want to say is that if you've been trying to list all the pages of your site in your XML sitemap, you're doing that wrong. The sitemap is not meant to have all the pages on your site. The sitemap is meant to have only the important pages on your site. Think again about what I said about internal linking, and there are pages that have authority, and that's the pages you want to. Listing these pages in the sitemap tells Google that these pages are important, and that's the one you want them to look at. Something worth mentioning also is that you don't really need a sitemap if you have a smaller site. The official Google documentation says that if your site has less than 500 pages, then you don't need a sitemap. Even though sometimes if it's done well, it's never going to be a problem. But you probably don't need a sitemap in most cases. And keep in mind that the goal here, again, is to help search engines identify important pages on your site. Keep in mind also that sitemaps are not a ranking factor, so having a sitemap is not going to help your pages rank better than anything else. Okay, another area where people in here, there are a few things to be said. You can see it's my fifth or sixth element here. Metadata is people often think of metadata as writing the page title and the meta description. And I've added to the list Open Graph data. We're going to see what that is. The thing worth mentioning here is that many people think that writing page title and a good meta description are very important for ranking pages into Google. So this is not at all true. The page title is a very, very, very small ranking factor, and the meta description is not used at all. So it doesn't matter at all for ranking pages. It has a utility, and we'll get back to that later, but it's a very small thing. Two things that I wanted to say. After all, we're talking about modern SEO, so it's important to know what's happening now. About the page title that you sometimes take a lot of time writing and a lot of time and effort writing, is that in 2021, Google started very heavily changing the titles. So you spend some time writing a title for your page, but in the search results, they don't use what you wrote. They prefer their own. That started in 2021, and it was very strong. I have some numbers, but I think it's in many cases it's like more than 50% of the titles were rewritten in studies that were done. That was the number found. Similarly, the meta description is not used for ranking, and the description you write is rarely going to be used by Google. Maybe 30 or 40% of the time at the most. That's what's again, there were some studies done to figure this number out, and this is very rare. So my point here is that maybe you should not spend that much time writing page title or meta description unless you've got a very good reason to. But maybe you don't want to spend too much time doing that because it's not going to help your pages rank, and Google is not going to use them anyway. However, I would say that in most cases, what you need to have is Open Graph metadata, and Open Graph is what's used by social networks when sharing your page onto social networks. So Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Pinterest, all these, they use specific metadata called Open Graph. And for most sites, you want to be shared properly onto social networks, and therefore you need to have very good Open Graph metadata. And the point here is that the most important of these metadata is the Open Graph image sharing, because when you share over a social network, then you need to have an image that attracts people. So that's the most important one. And of course, for SEO will help you there. Very quickly, I'm going to skip over that because it's just a study that was done trying to understand what was triggering the title rewrite by Google. Keyword stuffing, putting a lot of keywords into your page title is going to cause your page title to be rewritten and changed by Google. So don't do that. Okay, let's switch to for SEO. The few things I wanted to say about it is that it's an all-in-one extension. So the goal here is that it tries to offer you a solution for everything that's important today in terms of SEO inside of one extension. And the main reason to do that is because, as we've seen, SEO is very complex. It covers many different things. But in terms of performance, the same data is used in different places. So it makes sense to have only one extension doing everything. The same title, the same description, the same image, the same URL is going to be used to build structured data, to build metadata, to build the Open Graph tags, to build the canonical, and of course to build the sitemap and everything. And so if you have separate extensions, then each of these extensions have to do the same work again and again to find the right title, to extract images, to figure out which page is canonical, and so on. So that's the main point. And also the ease of use. Many people prefer to have small extensions that do just one thing. But in terms of SEO, you have to do many things. And if you have a structured data extension and a sitemap extension and a content replacer extension and a metadata extension and one or two Open Graph extensions, then you have 4 or 5 or 6 extensions that do things differently because they may come from different providers. They are organized differently. So there's a ease of use benefit of having just one extension. Just before we go and switch to actually looking at it, how does For SEO tries to help you? There are 3 key items. First, we have tried to make everything we can automated and out of the box without you having to play with settings and things like that. So out of the box, just after the setting, you'll have automatically structured data for your articles, for your Joomla articles. You'll have an automatic canonicalization of pages. You'll have core web vitals measurement. You'll have Open Graph tags, and you've got meta description and a few other things. I don't think I mentioned the sitemap, but the sitemap is going to be built automatically, regardless of the extensions you're using on your site, and that will all happen automatically. Of course, everything is configurable, but out of the box, you will have very good defaults, and all of that is going to work just after installation. The second point, and that's the big innovation, I think, for SEO, is that it works just like Google. So it's not trying to read articles and things from the database. It works like Google in that it crawls each page of your site, it looks for links, and then it crawls the links it found. So it's only discovering links and pages exactly as Google sees them. That allows many things like finding the links, finding the errors, finding the broken links, doing an intelligent sitemap. There are many benefits to that. Also, of course, it does not slow down the site front end because everything is done in the background. And then for everything else, everything that cannot be automated, then we have what I call an SEO toolbox. And you can set many things like redirects, canonical content, do content replacement, linking with a rules-based system, which is really, really easy to use. And finally, and that's brand new, we just released that officially this morning, we have an integration with the Google Search Console, and that lets us extract information to help you decide which keywords and which pages you can optimize. So we're going to see how that works now in real life, I hope. Let me switch to my browser, and here is how you would start with. I'm here. Let me just check that I didn't log out. Yeah, okay. I hope everything can see things now. Yeah, okay. Thanks. I have yeah. So the first thing I'd like to say is that for SEO works the same with Joomla 3 and Joomla 4. I actually have here a Joomla 3 site. It's exactly the same thing. There's no difference. The second thing is that for the technically minded people, it's a single page application, which means that it's a JavaScript application, and you'll never have to reload any page or anything like that. It's all just like modern applications like Gmail, if you will. You never have to reload anything. And most of the time you won't have to save anything because all the saving and all the actions are automated as well. So because I've spent quite a bit of time already, I'm not going to go through everywhere, through every features, but the few things I'd like to mention are that after the site has been crawled, the basis of much work here, every SEO will need a list of pages. That's something that does not exist in Joomla, and that's a problem for SEOs. You need to have a list of your site pages, and a list of your site pages is different from the list of articles in Joomla, because articles are not pages. And of course, if you have I don't know, a shop, or if you have a forum, or if you have other things like a business directory, you need to have a place where you have everything grouped together. So because it's a crawler, for SEO found all the links on that website, all the pages on the website, and it shows them here with the decision it made about whether they are canonical pages or duplicates, and whether they should be in the sitemap or not in the sitemap. You can see also that this is a sample site. It just has a default sample data from Google, from Joomla, so there's not much traffic on it, of course. You can also see that it's measuring the core web vitals from Google, the real core web vitals, LCP, FID, CLS, and it will alert you here if some pages are failing. I can select the failing ones. I don't have any failing ones, so that's good. Okay, so that's the base page. And here, if I take one of these pages, I can click here, and I will have access to metadata and social networks sharing. Here, I'll have a preview of what the search results view is going to be in Google, and I can update. I can update the title, and you can see I haven't saved anything. It's going to be taken into account. I could change the description here. I have a few things, very simple things. change the robot tags. So that's really working page by page. It's not something you're going to do very often. And social network, I could select here an image to share. This one, I'm going to have a, yeah, I think they can use that. Okay. So I can force an image to be used when sharing that page on social networks. If most of the time, if there's an image present on the page somewhere, for SEO will find that anyway. Okay, so this is about modifying metadata. I just wanted to show you that you can also do that straight from the front end. I just logged in on the front end, and because I'm configured so, you can see there's that's for SEO bubble which appear, and I'm going to go to a blog page, for instance, and if I click on that page here, I have that on that small icon. Sorry, I would have the same information, which means I can at any time change the page title, description, or the social image sharing. Here, for instance, the social networks sharing image was automatically selected by for SEO, this one, but I can change it if I want to add another one. So this is the front end usage, just really easy to use. Now, the second step, or the second thing I wanted to show to you is that by default, I hope, let's see, yeah. You will have a full, this extension I'm using here is SEO info, our extension, and it shows you the structured data that are in a page. And you can see that right after installation, without doing anything, I have here this right structured data. You can see that's not something you want to write by hand, so it has to be automated. And that's just out of the box for regular Joomla articles. Okay. And I'm going to skip over that, but if you have different types of content, you're going to be able to create rules with various conditions and decide that you want to, for instance, if you have a course, if your article is about a course or about an event, or about, can be a FAQ page or a product. And if you do that, then you're able to set up very accurately and very precisely structured data. In each case, it's worth mentioning, you can let for SEO decide automatically what is going to pick up as a value from the content, but you can also either type directly a value, or you can use a custom field. I don't think there are any custom field. Yeah, there are some actually. So you can use some custom field, Joomla standard custom field for pretty much everything. You can use that throughout the component. Okay, sitemaps, I'm going to skip over that. The sitemaps is created. You can just view it. There's a one sitemap per language, and you can easily view its content. It's showing the images and so on. But it's a technical thing, really. But it's done. One thing that's really specific to for SEO is the detection of broken links. Okay, I'm going to switch to. I don't think there is any here. I have another website. Yes, this one I created. I am on, this is another test site. And on this one, I have created a bad link on purpose just to show that. So if you have a bad link, like gives a 4.4 or give an error, for SEO will see that and will tell you and alert you about it. But not only that, but it will tell you the important thing, which is where is the bad link. In this example, I have this bad link created that I created on purpose, can be found on the homepage, on the blog page, on the blog, welcome to your blog page, on the sample layout blogs. So it's very easy, it becomes very easy to go and just fix these links. The idea here is that you want to have a high quality site with no broken links, because that's going to be at least bad for your visitors, and if not bad for SEO. Okay, there are many things, additional things. It will record PHP errors, for instance, all sort of things like that. And it will provide for enhanced for error pages or general error pages, enhanced with respect to the Joomla one, so that you have a better chance to keep your visitors on the site if something happens. Very quickly to redirect. Okay, I'm going to switch to a test site. I have a to a test site because I have more sample data here. So here are the SEO toolbox tools that I mentioned earlier, where you can when you can build redirects, content replace, and various things. All of these work with rules. Just an example: a redirect. You want to redirect some page to something else. You tell it when to run. This page is going to be running. This rule is going to be running if the URL requested are these ones, and if so, redirect that to this page. So these wizard steps are very, very simple and allows you to redirect whatever you want very easily. Here is another just slightly more complicated example where you use a syntax here with this star, and that allows you to redirect, for instance, an old category to a new category. Again, very simply, very simple syntax. You can use much more complex syntax if you want, with regular expressions and all that, but you don't have to. It's always very simple. The useful tools, the replacer, like I mentioned, is something we added to for SEO because we want to help you build internal linking. And here is an example of that, how that can be used. I have created a rule here that will replace the word for SEO with a link to the for SEO product page. And this is how it's done. I don't want to do it everywhere, but each time I'm writing a blog, so an article that will be published in the blog, I want for SEO to replace the word for SEO by a link. I have clicked link here that goes to this page. And it's as simple as that. And the trick here is that, of course, you have to be a bit more specific, and you're going to tell it to do that only in the main content, the main body, or maybe in the modules. You could do it as well in the modules. But you want it to do it only once. Just link the first instance of the word for SEO. This is important to build the cluster that I mentioned during on my slides. Okay, and so now again there are many other things. SEO rules. You can set canonical. You can exclude from sitemap. You can enter raw content if you have some custom JavaScript or style. You can use a rule to, for instance, here I can add a rule to implement Google Ads, and I can tell it again. As an example, I've used the blog. On each page of the blog, you can include after the head tag the Google JavaScript snippet that's needed to display ads. Very useful tool for anybody doing ads or advanced analytics or many other things. Talking about analytics, we have a few integrations with analytics that lets you very easily integrate many suppliers: Matomo, Google Tag Manager, Analytics, Universal Analytics, Analytics version 4, Facebook Pixel, Clarity, Cloudflare. There are many. So I'll just skip over that. But the last thing I wanted to talk about is the integration. So I'm going to disconnect this just to show you how it works. we've just added an integration with the Google Search Console, and I wanted to show you how that can be used to improve your content writing. That's the goal here. So the thing you need, of course, is a Google Search Console account. The Google Search Console, just a word of introduction, is a service by Google, a free service. It's totally free of charge, where they provide you with information about how your website is doing in the search results. So it's not something that runs on your site. It's something that runs on their site. They are collecting data, and they are recording how many times your pages were displayed when somebody was searching for something, and how many times these people clicked on your website pages, and how many times on which page of the search results your website pages were displayed for a given keyword search. So, and they are the only ones who have actually this data. If you use the Search Console directly on their website, you are very limited. You have very useful information, but some of it is limited in terms of keywords and pages and average position, because they limit the number of results to a maximum of 1,000, and that's very limiting. We are using the API. They have an API access, and that gives us a much larger number of data rows, and this is why it's so useful. So I'm going to just connect my account, allow for SEO to access my data. This is a test site, so it works a little bit differently. But the key point here is that it's super easy and super quick. That's exactly what you'll have to do to access data in your Search Console, provided you have a Google Search Console account. Adding your site and adding the and verifying it, for those who knows a bit, is entirely automatic, and it's handled by SEO itself. So you don't have anything to do here. And when you've done that, and if you go to your dashboard, you're going to see this sort of report. And this report is an interactive report. This one here on the dashboard is the simplified one. You can select for which duration you want data to be selected, and it gives you two things. Essentially, I'm going to go back to the default. Essentially, it tells you how many clicks and how many impressions being when one page of your site is displayed in response to a search in Google search results. So it's going to tell you how many clicks and how many impressions you had over time. And the second thing this report is giving you is which keywords people are searching when your website was displayed in the results. Okay, so let's not focus on the actual keywords and the results, because we have a lot of work to do in terms of SEO, but you have all the information here. There's a nice thing as well, is that on a regular basis, Google publish changes to their algorithms. And we have overlaid here on the results, the Google updates. You can see here, we have the Google updates. This one was the core update of September 22. This one was the product review update, and if we go just a little bit longer, 3 months, we're going to see. You see, there are regularly updates. There were 4 of them during this summer. This one is the helpful content update that I mentioned, and you can click here. It will tell you what this update was about, and when it started, and when was the update actually completed. And this is important because it will, if you see changes in your click rate or your average position, the average position is displayed here. These updates may explain why you see a change, an improvement or a loss. So this is the first very quick view. And in my mind, that's the really important thing. You've got what we call SEO Insights. And SEO Insights is a set of reports that are automatically built by SEO. using some data from the Search Console and doing some calculation that are actually not available in Search Console. And what we use that for is providing you with opportunities, trying to identify where you have things that you can improve, or if you improve them, there's a good chance that you'll see a good return on investment, that you'll see improved traffic, increased traffic from Google. There are three types of reports: pages opportunity, keywords opportunity, and cannibalization. Pages opportunity tells you which pages of your site you have interest in working on, because there is a potential benefit. If you manage to improve them, then this will be most likely, this will turn into an increased traffic. The same thing here is for keywords opportunity. I'll get back to the previous screen. This is a list of keywords for which, based on the Search Console data, for SEO thinks that if you can manage to improve your results with these keywords, you'll see more traffic, more good traffic, more valuable traffic. And the reason we are doing these page opportunities and keyword opportunities is that most often when you work on your site, you have, 1,000 pages on your site. You work on your site and you work on all pages and for all keywords, but most of your pages are never going to have good results. So if you spend time on them, you're wasting your time. And it's so important to identify which keywords and which pages you want to work with. So for the pages, for SEO has selected, we have a few criteria here. This page here, for instance, we think there's a possibility of improving because it ranks for multiple keywords, which might be absolutely normal. That's where you have to get in and start to think about the data we have here. This page here has a lot of impressions, but it's a low position. Let me give you an example of what that means. It has this page from our website was shown nearly 9,000 times during the period of time in response to a search result, to a search by somebody on Google. But on average, it was displayed on the fourth page. Average position is 39. So if there is roughly 10 results per page, it was our page was displayed on the fourth page. So of course, rather few people clicked on it. That's why it's an interesting page to work on, because it is often displayed. It means many people are searching for the keywords that we are now going to list, because if you click on that, you're going to see which keywords are caused our page to be requested, and this gives you an idea of how you can modify that. How we can modify that page to bring in more traffic. We need maybe to work on these keywords and see which one are important. For instance, in our case, the Joomla SEO keywords. Our page has been displayed 6,000 times in response to somebody searching for Joomla SEO. But being on the fourth page, we don't stand in chance to have any clicks. And indeed, we have virtually no click. So that's where it means I have to focus on that page and on this keyword. And that's what For SEO is doing on this report. It's telling you, and you see our site has maybe 14,000 pages, but For SEO identified 6 of them as worthwhile looking at. Likewise, for the keywords, some of these keywords are going to be useless and you're not going to be able to do anything, but some of them are high impressions, low position, like this is a canonical tag keyword. Many people are searching for that. And we have a page and we have pages that are shown for that, but in a very bad position, very poor position. So we need to work on that. We have this page, for example, that's often displayed. It was displayed nearly 7,000 times, but in a very bad position on the 8th page. So if we were able to improve this page, we could get more traffic to our site. And I need to work on that. And the third and last report is a funny thing. It's called a cannibalization report because it tries to detect on your site something that's sometimes okay and sometimes a problem. And that is when multiple pages are on your site are fighting for the same keywords. Again, it might be totally okay and might be very wrong sometimes. SH447 is a keyword for which we have 8 pages on our site that are displayed in search results. And so if I look at them, I see all these pages. And for instance, this one is the SH447 product page. So it's normal and expected that if somebody searches for SH447, they see this page. Likewise, the homepage is, we expect that. It's okay because on the homepage, we talk about SH447 and we are going to have a link and so on. But I would probably want to reduce the importance of the number of times the homepage is displayed because it's displayed often and the homepage is not as good as my product page. And I can see here that we have these 2 pages. And these 2 pages from the blog, there are an article about SH447, and they are probably eating up and competing with our main page. And probably I want to do something about that. Things you can do is change your internal linking or changing the wording in these pages so that they compete less with the main product page. Okay, that's just an example of the kind of problem these reports are going to help you identify based on real world Google data. And so with that, I'm going to conclude and probably stop sharing my screen. And I'm not sure there's any question. Let me stop sharing. And I'm here. Okay. Pooja, over to you. You're welcome. You're welcome. Yep. Mm-hmm. It seems the chat is pretty quiet. So yep. Yep, lovely. People can reach me through our website, Weeblr.com, and on Twitter as well, but mostly actually on Weeblr.com. And it's you can contact us there. And if you have any question that comes up later, please feel free to reach out to me at any time. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Thank you. Okay. You're very welcome. You're very welcome. Thank you. Yeah, no problem. I'll be happy to do that. Thank you. Thank you, Pooja.